Avoiding people after 70? These 7 hidden psychological reasons may surprise you. Have you or someone you love started pulling away from people after turning 70? The phone rings less, visits feel overwhelming, and solitude starts to feel easier. But is this just aging, or is there something deeper going on? In today's video, we're asking a question that many seniors silently wonder, but rarely speak aloud. Why am I avoiding people more as I age? It's not always loneliness. It's not always sadness. Sometimes it's something you've earned, like peace, clarity, or protection of your energy. But other times, it might be a hidden sign of emotional fatigue, past wounds, or fear of being misunderstood. In this video, you'll discover 7 surprising psychological reasons that explain why many people over 70 begin stepping back from others, and what these reasons truly mean. You'll hear real-life stories like Jacques, a 78-year-old from France who left the dinner party life behind, and Maria from Spain, who quietly distanced herself from her oldest friends for reasons even her family didn't see coming. We'll also give you practical, compassionate advice, whether you're a senior yourself or a loved one who's trying to understand this emotional shift. And here's why you should stay with us till the very end. You'll gain insight that can change the way you view aging, not as a time of loss, but as a powerful time of self-awareness, boundaries, and emotional wisdom. You'll learn what's healthy, what might be cause for concern, and most of all, how to reconnect with yourself and others in a way that feels safe and true. Before we dive deeper, subscribe to Elder Wisdom Table and hit the like button, because together we're building a space for guidance, inspiration, and the strength to age with grace and purpose. Let's get started. Reason number 1: emotional fatigue from a lifetime of social expectations. Imagine spending 70 or more years navigating conversations, hosting gatherings, attending family events, making small talk, and often putting others' needs before your own. It's beautiful, but it can also be exhausting. Many seniors report that as they age, they feel an invisible weight lifted when they finally let go of social expectations. This is called emotional fatigue, a quiet but powerful feeling of being worn out from decades of social performing. Take Margaret, 82, from Brighton, UK. She spent most of her life being the perfect hostess, always smiling, always making sure everyone had a good time. But after her husband passed away, she said something quietly to her granddaughter. "I don't want to smile through another story I've heard 1,000 times. I just want to sit with someone who doesn't need me to be entertaining." That's not sadness, it's emotional truth. As we grow older, many of us become more sensitive to what drains us emotionally. Loud conversations, surface-level chats, or the pressure to keep up appearances can suddenly feel like too much. According to psychologist Dr. Sandra Lewis, emotional fatigue is a real phenomenon in aging. Older adults often reach a point where they no longer feel the need to please everyone, she explains. This is healthy, but it can look like withdrawal to outsiders. This doesn't mean seniors are antisocial. It means they're choosing peace over performance. But here's the key. Emotional fatigue becomes a concern only when it turns into emotional isolation. If someone begins refusing all visits, cutting off relationships, or losing interest in former passions, it could be a signal of depression rather than just healthy boundary setting. So, what can you do? If you're an older adult, give yourself permission to choose who and what fills your time. It's okay to say no to draining people and yes to solitude. Find relationships that let you be your true self, quiet, joyful, or somewhere in between. If you're a family member, don't push them into more interaction, invite them gently. Ask open-ended questions like, "Would you like company or quiet today?" Most of all, respect their emotional pace. Because after 70, choosing peace isn't pulling away, it's finally coming home to yourself. Reason number 2, fear of being misunderstood or judged. As people age, they often carry a deep reservoir of life experience, memories, and personal truths. But with that wisdom comes a quiet fear, the fear of being misunderstood. Many seniors begin to withdraw not because they dislike people, but because they feel others no longer understand them, or worse, judge them for who they've become. Let's meet Carlos, 76, from Barcelona, Spain. Once a lively community leader, Carlos gradually stopped attending church meetings and neighborhood gatherings. His daughter asked him why, and his answer was simple yet heartbreaking. They listen to my words, but not to my meaning. They think I'm confused when I'm just deeper now. This fear of misinterpretation is especially common when seniors talk about health issues, grief, or even worldviews shaped by decades of living. Younger people, even well-meaning family members, may unintentionally dismiss their concerns or rush them through conversations. Over time, that leads to emotional withdrawal not from anger, but from the pain of not being heard or valued. Psychologists call this a perceived empathy gap. When older adults feel others can't relate to or validate their inner world, they may avoid conversation altogether to protect their dignity. Silence, in this case, becomes a shield. But here's the tragedy. With every missed opportunity to speak and be truly heard, a little more of their voice retreats into the background. So, what can be done? If you're a senior feeling misunderstood, try connecting with someone your age who may relate to your experiences. Write down your thoughts or share them in a journal. Expression matters, even privately. If someone misunderstands you, gently clarify instead of walking away. If you're a loved one, practice patient listening. Don't interrupt, don't correct. Just let them speak. Use validating phrases like "that makes sense" or "I hadn't thought of it that way." Ask for stories, not just answers. Say, "Tell me more about how that felt." The truth is, older adults don't crave attention, they crave connection. And connection starts with feeling seen, heard, and understood. When we remove the fear of judgment, we open the door for the elderly to speak freely and return to the circle of conversation they never wanted to leave. Reason number 3, grief accumulation and emotional numbness. As the years pass, losses accumulate, some sudden, some quiet. A beloved spouse, a lifelong friend, a favorite neighbor, or even the comforting routine of a job long retired. Over time, these losses don't just break hearts, they quietly shape how a person sees the world and whether they feel safe enough to remain emotionally open. This is known as grief accumulation, a slow buildup of emotional pain that, when left unspoken or unsupported, can lead to emotional numbness. Let's hear from Patricia, 79, from Edinburgh, Scotland. In her younger years, Patricia was always surrounded by friends. But after her sister passed, followed by 2 close friends, and then her husband of 52 years, something shifted. "I stopped calling people back," she admitted. "It wasn't that I didn't care. I just felt hollow, like there was nothing left to give." That's what unprocessed grief can do. Instead of tears, it shows up as disinterest. Instead of talking, it shows up as silence. Instead of connection, it shows up as distance. And sadly, others may misinterpret this as bitterness, aloofness, or even rudeness when in reality, it's a defense mechanism. A quiet way of saying, "Please don't hurt me again." According to geriatric psychologists, older adults often learn to protect themselves by shutting emotional doors before anyone else can leave them. It's a self-preservation instinct, not a personality flaw. But grief, when buried, doesn't disappear. It sits quietly, draining energy and dimming joy, unless given the light of compassion. What can you do if this sounds familiar? If you're an elder facing multiple losses, acknowledge your grief, even if it feels small or too long ago. Talk to a trusted friend, therapist, or spiritual guide. Sharing helps lighten the emotional load. Remember, grieving doesn't mean you're weak, it means you've loved deeply. If you're a loved one, ask about the people they miss. Sometimes just hearing their names spoken out loud brings comfort. Instead of cheering them up, sit with them in silence. Let them grieve in their own way. Offer simple presence. Sometimes no words are needed, just your quiet company. Because underneath the silence of an aging heart is often not apathy, but accumulated sorrow waiting patiently for someone to care enough to ask, to listen, and to understand. Reason number 4, reduced cognitive energy and mental bandwidth. Imagine your brain as a battery. In youth, it's fully charged, ready for multitasking, fast conversations, and emotional ups and downs. But as we age, that battery doesn't hold the same charge. For many seniors, social interaction becomes mentally exhausting, not because they don't care, but because it takes more effort than before. This is what psychologists refer to as reduced cognitive energy. It's not about intelligence or awareness, it's about bandwidth. Processing emotions, remembering details, following rapid conversations, and navigating social cues all require focus. And after 70, those resources become more precious. Let's meet Hugh, 81, from Dublin, Ireland. Hugh used to be the life of the party, but now he prefers short phone calls and quiet afternoons. When his grandson asked why he doesn't visit more often, Hugh smiled and said, "Talking feels like lifting weights now. I'd rather sit beside someone in silence than try to follow 5 conversations at once." That wasn't avoidance, it was honesty. As the brain ages, even mild cognitive changes can make socializing feel overwhelming. Loud environments, quick changes in topic or emotional stories can drain energy quickly, sometimes leaving seniors tired, irritable, or withdrawn. Older adults often subconsciously prioritize mental energy for essential tasks like remembering appointments, managing medication, or simply staying oriented in the world. That doesn't leave much left for complex social dynamics. And yet, society often expects them to keep up the same level of social engagement without recognizing the quiet mental toll it takes. If you're a senior, choose social settings that feel calm and focused. One-on-one conversations in peaceful environments are ideal. Don't feel guilty for setting time limits on social interactions. Rest is not laziness, it's renewal. Practice mindfulness or deep breathing before and after visits to manage mental fatigue. If you're a family member, slow down your speech, avoid interrupting, and don't flood conversations with too many topics at once. Respect when they say they're tired or need a break. Don't take it personally. Instead of group gatherings, try quiet companionship. Sitting together on a porch, reading, or watching a peaceful documentary. Remember, when a senior steps back from social life, it's often not rejection, it's self-care for a brain that's working harder than it shows. Before we dive deeper to the next, subscribe to Elder Wisdom Table and hit the like button because together we're building a space for guidance, inspiration, and the strength to age with grace and purpose. Reason number 5, shifting priorities toward meaning over social quantity. As people age, their view of life naturally sharpens. Time becomes more precious. Patience for superficial conversations wears thin, and the desire for deep, meaningful connection begins to outweigh the old need for busy social lives. This isn't isolation, it's emotional refinement. Let's hear from Elaine, 77, from Manchester, UK. In her 50s and 60s, she loved lunch dates, group outings, and community events. But by her late 70s, her circle had shrunk to just 3 friends. "I'm not lonely," she told her son. "I've just stopped wasting time on people who don't feed my soul." That's a powerful shift. Psychologists call this socio-emotional selectivity, a natural psychological process where older adults narrow their social circles to focus on emotionally rewarding relationships. In other words, quality over quantity. Studies show that this is a healthy and even protective behavior. People over 70 often report higher life satisfaction when they invest time in fewer, deeper connections rather than maintaining large social networks that may feel draining or shallow. But here's the catch. To outsiders, this behavior may look like avoidance or sadness. In reality, it's a quiet act of wisdom, choosing who truly matters. A behavioral aging researcher says older adults often have sharper emotional radar. They can sense insincerity, shallow engagement, or toxic patterns, and they don't tolerate it anymore. This can look like withdrawal, but it's actually boundary setting. So, how can this be supported? If you're a senior, don't feel pressured to keep up every old friendship. It's okay to let go of relationships that no longer feel genuine. Seek out people who make you feel energized, respected, and heard, even if it's just one person. Journaling or reflecting on who brings you peace can help you clarify your social priorities. If you're a loved one, Respect that your elder may not want constant company, but they likely still crave meaningful connection. Ask deeper questions. Try what's been on your mind lately or what memory means the most to you right now. Help them reconnect with old, meaningful friends rather than introducing too many new ones. Because after 70, many people aren't avoiding others. They're protecting the time they have left and making sure it's spent with the right people in the right moments for the right reasons. Reason number 6, social anxiety grows with physical or sensory decline. For many seniors, physical changes like hearing loss, vision decline, balance issues, or difficulty speaking don't just affect the body, they quietly shake confidence in public and social settings. And when someone no longer feels sure they can follow a conversation, hear clearly in a noisy room, or walk steadily through a crowd, they may begin to avoid people not out of disinterest, but out of fear. This is what experts now recognize as age-related social anxiety. Let's take the story of Jean-Paul, 80, from Lyon, France. A sharp, witty man his whole life, he began turning down invitations to family dinners. His grandson thought he was becoming grumpy, until one day Jean-Paul admitted, "I miss half of what's said at the table. I nod along, but I feel like I'm always a step behind. It's embarrassing. I'd rather stay home." It wasn't rudeness, it was self-protection. Many seniors feel anxious about socializing when they fear they'll mishear, misstep, or miscommunicate. These worries can become so strong that they trigger physical symptoms: racing heartbeat, dry mouth, even dizziness at the thought of gatherings, or even casual visits. According to a geriatric therapist in Madrid, small physical declines can have a massive psychological impact. The fear of saying what too many times or needing help to move around can lead to withdrawal. Even those who once thrived in social settings may quietly retreat, feeling ashamed to admit why. If you're an older adult, don't suffer in silence. Talk to your doctor about assistive devices like hearing aids, mobility support, or glasses. Modern options are often discreet and highly effective. Let trusted people know what helps you feel more at ease, such as quiet environments or slower conversations. Remind yourself, needing support doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. If you're a loved one, be mindful of sensory overload. Choose calm, well-lit, quiet places for visits. Speak clearly, face the person when talking, and avoid rushing the conversation. Offer reassurance, take your time, or it's okay if you ask twice, "I'm here." Also notice nonverbal signs. If your elder seems unusually quiet in groups, check in privately later. They may be hiding fear behind silence, because beneath what looks like withdrawal might be a strong, proud person simply trying to hold on to dignity in a world that's suddenly moving faster than they can keep up with. Reason number 7, a growing desire for inner peace and spiritual reflection. In the later chapters of life, something profound often happens inside the heart, a shift from outward busyness to inward stillness. For many seniors, avoiding people is not a sign of sadness, but a quiet search for peace, purpose, and deeper meaning. This isn't isolation. It's intentional solitude, a natural pull toward reflection, legacy, and spiritual connection. Let's meet Martha, 82, from Oregon, USA. She was once a host to many family reunions, book clubs, garden parties. But now, she spends most mornings alone on her porch, journaling or simply watching the wind in the trees. Her granddaughter asked, "Grandma, aren't you bored?" Martha smiled gently and said, "No, darling, I'm listening to the quiet I ignored for 70 years. That quiet, for many, becomes more meaningful than any conversation." Psychologists call this process gerotranscendence, a developmental stage in older adulthood where priorities shift from ego and achievement to spiritual peace, reflection, and connection to the eternal. This isn't about religion alone, it's about clarity, acceptance, and contemplating life's deeper questions. Many older adults naturally begin to pull away from social noise, not from rejection, but from realignment. They may focus more on prayer, meditation, nature, or simply being present with themselves. Sadly, others may misread this sacred inward turn as loneliness or depression. But in truth, it can be a sign of emotional maturity and spiritual awakening. If you're an elder, don't feel guilty for wanting time alone. Solitude can be healing. Explore spiritual practices that bring you peace, whether that's prayer, music, nature walks, or writing letters to your younger self. Reflect on your life story and consider sharing it with loved ones. It's a gift only you can give. If you're a loved one, respect their quiet moments. Don't always try to fill the silence. Sometimes presence is more powerful than conversation. Ask meaningful questions like, what has life taught you? Or what brings you peace these days? Encourage legacy projects. Help those record stories, make a memory book, or write letters for future generations. Because sometimes when an older adult pulls away, they aren't avoiding life, they're embracing it from a deeper place. They are listening to the rhythm of time, reflecting on all they've seen, and preparing to pass on the wisdom that only years can bring. Understanding the quiet shift after 70. Now that we've explored the 7 hidden psychological reasons why many older adults avoid people more as they age, one thing becomes beautifully clear. It's not always about loneliness. It's often about wisdom. Each reason, from grief accumulation to reduced cognitive energy, from sensory struggles to the longing for spiritual peace, tells a story not of decline, but of transition. A shift from the noise of the world to the voice within. A gradual refinement of what truly matters. Avoiding people after 70 doesn't mean giving up. It often means choosing depth over distraction, peace over pressure, and truth over triviality. We've met people like Patricia, Hugh, Elaine, Jean-Paul, and Martha, real individuals with real experiences. Each one shows us that what may appear from the outside as withdrawal is, more often, a deeply human and healthy response to the realities of aging. If you're in your 70s or 80s or approaching that stage, know that your changing social needs are valid. Give yourself permission to set boundaries and honor what feels right. Don't be afraid to ask for support when you need it, and don't apologize for needing solitude when you don't. If you're a family member, friend, or caregiver, approach your elder with compassion, not assumptions. Replace questions like, why don't you come out more, with how can I support the way you want to connect? Recognize that what you see on the surface may be hiding decades of emotion, loss, strength, and longing. And for all of us young or old, let's remember this. Aging doesn't make someone less social. It just makes them more selective. Instead of judging, let's be curious. Instead of rushing in, let's sit beside them in silence. Instead of trying to change their rhythms, let's tune into them. Because the elders among us carry quiet wisdom. And when they retreat, it's not always retreat, it's reflection. And reflection, when honored, can lead to the most meaningful connections of all. If you found this video helpful, like the video and don't forget to subscribe to Elder Wisdom Table and click the bell icon so you never miss a tip designed to help you live well after 60. Share this video to you loved ones. Let me see what you learned from this episode in the comment, and share your story or experience someone may learn from your tip. And also, reading your valuable comment inspired and motivated us to create more insightful contents. Get inspired, stay informed, and most of all, keep living wisely. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.